When God releases a promise, there is going to be a process to entering into it. There's going to be a way by which the promise will be attained. It's not as it were that what you do qualifies you for the promise. It is that what you do positions you for the promise. If you are not well positioned for the promise, even when the promise shows up, you can lose the promise. So God decides to put a process by which man will be able to position for the promise. It's like God saying, I'm going to share water tomorrow as also tap. And he decides that what will make you qualify to join the queue is to have a bucket. The idea of you having the bucket is not God punishing. The idea of you going to site to labor and generate money and buy a bucket before tomorrow is not God punishing you. It's God knowing fully well if you arrive at the tap without that bucket, his promise to you will be wasted. And because God is an investor, he's not willing to lose what he is going to give you. He decides to put you through a process. What's the correlation between come and get water at a tap and you being a laborer on site? You can quickly tell God, there is no why should I be a laborer on site? And do you know many times messages are preached that makes us feel that when God says there is water at the tap, you say, I have it, and you walk away. And the reality is that you will get to the tap, you will find the water, but you can't account for it. And if God will help us, is that when we get to the tap, because we have no bucket, he will shut the tap. Because if your own portion of water becomes wasted because you have no bucket, the cost of restoration or redemption is another thing. You might have to join the queue all over again after getting a bucket. And so for God to not help you waste your own wealth, your own victory, he decides to shut the tap. I'm giving this explanation so you will understand that when God says there is water at the tap and he says change your garment, let's go to site and labor, you will have to realize that there is something he is intending to do, that he puts you through a process. There's something he wants to achieve, that he decides to set a process. If you notice the process that God puts, it's not usually palatable. It's not usually sweet. Because it's better to get water than to be on site to labor. Meanwhile, listen, every one of us, the process that God puts us to is very much important, if not much more, than attaining the promise. Because really it is the process that positions you. Let this sink. It's the process that will position you for it. The next time God comes to you and says, I will prosper you, he gave you a promise. It's important to start looking for the process to that promise, so that you don't collide with the prosperity not ready.